Another U-turn from this government, the 12th in 18 months. It's almost like they don't know what they're doing.
Well, they know how to do one thing, and that's do a U-turn. That seems to be the only thing that they've excelled at over the course of their tenure.
It means that their policies are wrong, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think we've ever had, in such a short period of time, so many U-turns committed by a government. You know, they say it's better if they can make these decisions once they have more knowledge. It just seems to the public that they haven't got a clue what they're doing. They have no political instinct, no political antennae, be it the winter fuel allowance, be it this. They seem to basically be trying to make themselves as unpopular as they possibly can. I sometimes wonder whether Keir Starmer's being advised.
Right, gather round, because Rachel Reeves has just dropped an absolute bombshell on Britain's backbone. And I'm not talking about the NHS. I'm talking about the blokes in Ford Rangers who actually keep this country running. You know, the ones who show up when your boiler's knackered at 11 p.m. on a Sunday. Yeah, those heroes. Well, turns out the Treasury's decided they're public enemy number one. And before you ask, no, I'm not exaggerating. The tax bills for double cab pickup trucks are about to quadruple. Quadruple. That's not a tax tweak. That's a full-blown declaration of war on white van men. So buckle up, because this is going to get bumpy, much like Britain's roads that these tradies have to navigate every single day. Oh, and if you enjoy watching me dissect political absurdity with the enthusiasm of a builder finding an unexpected tea break, smash that subscribe button and whack the notification bell. Trust me, you'll want front row seats for this circus. So here's the deal. Rachel Reeves, in her infinite wisdom, decided that the 2024 autumn budget was the perfect time to completely upend the lives of self-employed tradespeople, farmers, and basically anyone who needs a vehicle that's tougher than a Tesco shopping trolley. The changes kicked in fully from April 2025, and now, as of January 2026, the carnage is real. We're talking about double cab pickups like the Ford Ranger, Toyota Hilux, and Isuzu D-Max. You know, the kind of vehicles that scream, I actually do real work for a living, rather than I went to a Russell Group uni and now I work in policy. Here's where it gets spicy. These vehicles used to be classified as commercial vans for tax purposes. Makes sense, right? They've got a massive load bed, they can carry a ton of gear, and they're about as comfortable as a gym bench, perfect for lugging cement mixers and scaffolding poles across muddy building sites. But no, HMRC looked at a 2020 Court of Appeal judgment and thought, you know what, these things have rear seats. That's basically a Mercedes S-Class with delusions of grandeur. So now they're being taxed as company cars, not vans, cars. Let that sink in. Now, you might be thinking, okay, bit annoying, but how bad can it be? Oh, sweet summer child, let me paint you a picture. Under the old van rules, these double cabs were subject to a flat benefit-in-kind rate of £4,020. A basic rate taxpayer, someone earning a normal salary, not running a hedge fund, would pay about £800 a year. Manageable. Not fun, but manageable. You could still afford a cheeky Nando's on a Friday. But now, these double cabs fall under car rules, which means the taxable benefit is calculated as a percentage of the vehicle's list price based on CO2 emissions. And because most of these trucks are diesel workhorses, not some pathetic electric golf cart, they're hitting the top 37% emissions bracket. For a typical Ford Ranger Wildtrak, which costs around 48 to 50 grand new, that means the taxable benefit shoots up to 17,760 quid, maybe 18.5 grand if you've gone for the model with heated seats and the ability to actually start in winter. Let's do the maths, shall we? A basic rate taxpayer now owes £3,552. That's more than quadruple what they were paying before. And if you're a higher rate taxpayer on 40%, 7,100 quid, 7 grand, for the privilege of owning a vehicle you need to do your actual job. That's not a tax adjustment, that's highway robbery with a Treasury letterhead. And wait, it gets worse. If your employer provides private fuel, which let's be honest is pretty standard when you're driving hundreds of miles a week to job sites, you're looking at thousands more. The fuel multiplier for 2025 to 26 is 28,200 quid, multiplied by your emissions percentage. So at 37%, that's another £10,434 of taxable benefit. At this point, you might as well just buy a helicopter. At least people would understand why you're broke. Now, the Treasury, bless their out-of-touch little hearts, insists this is all about correcting inconsistent treatment following that Court of Appeal ruling. They've even thrown in some transitional relief, because apparently they're not complete monsters. If you bought, leased, or ordered your double cab before April 6, 2025, you can continue under the old van rules until you sell it, the lease ends, or April 5, 2029, whichever comes first. So, basically, if you had the foresight to predict this madness, congratulations, you've bought yourself a few years. If you didn't, well, hope you like single-cab trucks or learning to love trains. But here's the kicker. VAT reclaim rules haven't changed for vehicles with payloads of 1 ton or more. So the government's still happy to take your VAT contributions, they're just going to absolutely rinse you on income tax instead. It's like being told you can keep your membership to a gym that's just tripled its fees and removed all the equipment. Cheers for that. Now, let's talk about who this actually hurts, because spoiler alert, it's not the Waitrose crowd. This is a stealth tax that punches down hard. We're talking about farmers who need rugged vehicles to navigate fields that would swallow a Prius whole. Builders, plumbers, electricians, the people who keep your lights on and your toilets flushing. These folks rely on double cabs because they need to carry tools, transport crew, and use the same vehicle to pick up the kids from school because, shockingly, not everyone can afford a separate family car and a work van. Critics have been absolutely savage, and rightly so. Industry voices are warning about fleet downsizing, skyrocketing costs for essential vehicles, and pressure to switch to less capable single-cab models that can't do half the job. Imagine telling a builder, yeah mate, you can still claim van tax rates, but only if you ditch the back seats and make your apprentice ride in the load bed like a golden retriever. It's absurd, it's insulting, and it's typical of a government that's completely lost touch with working people. The Federation of Small Businesses has called it a kick in the teeth. Farmers' unions are livid, and the blokes actually affected, they're looking at their options and realizing they're all terrible. Downgrade to a less capable vehicle and struggle to do your job properly, switch to a lower emission alternative that costs a fortune and probably can't tow a caravan, or just eat the tax hike and accept that you're now several grand poorer every year for literally no reason other than bureaucratic box ticking. A Treasury spokesperson, because of course they had to weigh in, said the changes help businesses transition while closing a loophole for multi-purpose vehicles. A loophole. They called it a loophole. Using a truck designed for commercial work in a commercial context is apparently now gaming the system. What's next? Taxing scaffolders for having the audacity to own scaffolding? As we roll through the 2025 to 26 tax year, the full horror of this policy is becoming crystal clear. Unless you are savvy enough to secure transitional protection, you're looking at bills that could genuinely force you to rethink your entire business model. Tax experts are urging anyone affected to review their fleet immediately and consult professionals, which is code for "this is complicated and expensive, good luck." Here's the thing that really grinds my gears. This government loves to talk about supporting small businesses, backing British workers, levelling up. But then they pull stunts like this that disproportionately hammer the self-employed and rural communities, the very people they claim to champion. It's performative nonsense, and everyone can see straight through it. So what's the end game here? Either tradespeople absorb costs they can't afford, pass them on to customers who are already struggling, or abandon the vehicles that actually let them do their jobs effectively. None of those options are good. None of them help the economy, and none of them suggest anyone in Westminster has a clue what life is like outside the M25. Rachel Reeves has effectively told Britain's white van men that their contributions don't matter, that the vehicles they depend on are luxuries, not necessities, and that the Treasury's interpretation of a 6-year-old court ruling matters more than keeping the country's infrastructure running. It's short-sighted, it's cruel, and frankly, it's economic self-sabotage dressed up as tax reform. Thanks for watching, folks. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go appreciate my plumber before his tax bill forces him to retrain as a TikTok influencer.